Hey, friends. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Crank and Boom podcast. Today, we're talking about something that is very near and dear to my heart and actually very recent in my heart, traveling. Traveling unearths new things about yourself that you might not have known. It stretches you and exposes you to new people, new places, and new ways of being. All of this makes you a better thinker and better leader for your business. And who knows, by observing other cultures' practices in life and business, you could come back with an innovative idea that might infuse new life into your business as well. When you're first starting out in your business, you might not have the bandwidth or the money or the capacity to do a big international trip. And I get that. But I'm also going to share with you some ideas on how to find inspiration right outside your door and some simple ways you can start incorporating traveling into your life. And if you can't travel outside your city, your state, or your country right now, we'll talk about how it's important to step away from your business here and there, even in the smallest capacity, so you can gain perspective. This is such an important and fun topic to talk about, so I can't wait to get into it more. So I just got back from a big family trip. Our family took a trip across the world to Japan and to Thailand with different parcels of our family. But there were 11 of us that finally made it to Thailand, and we were able to spend time together, hang out, also see other family members. I actually have 41 first cousins, and I think we only were able to see maybe 5 or 6 of those cousins. So we have a huge family that live in Thailand. We were gone for 3.5 weeks. Now that is a huge chunk of time, especially when we own a business here. And then once we started Crank and Boom, the business basically took all of our time, our money, and our resources. So there was not a lot of time to be able to do that. And our priorities were shifted because the business that we were building up, this tiny infant thing, it just needed everything we had. We sacrificed our money. We put everything and poured everything into it. And that is the phase that we were of the business at that stage. And now, 10 years later, we've been able to build the business up, and we were able to take money that we had stashed away to be able to make this trip happen. And, when you have a business, you sacrifice things that you enjoy doing. Maybe you don't get to go out with your friends as much. Maybe you don't go and play tennis, or maybe you don't do this thing that you used to love. We had not gone on a big trip for a long time. And now this, for me, was a reminder that this is something that is very integral into who I am. To me, it's not just a vacation. It's something that makes me feel alive, and it makes me feel whole, and it makes me feel so happy. And so I need to prioritize that and make that something that's extra important that we need to focus on in our life as a family. And it was just so nice to be able to take the time to disconnect a little bit and also just get out of the country a little bit too. So important to be able to step away. And so how do you actually do that? Because when you are early in your business and you are the one doing the doing, it means if you want to keep someone doing the doing, you're probably going to have to hire someone to help you or find a way to keep the income coming without you doing all the operating when you're starting in your business, because you don't have the capacity or the money to just hire a bunch of people to do stuff. If you're not in a service type business, especially if you're in an online business, there are so many resources out there for getting an assistant, getting someone who can do it online. You can use Fiverr, Upwork. There are lots of virtual assistants out there and people who are willing to do a lot of the little nitty gritty stuff that maybe you don't want to do, that you can offload into someone else who can do it probably even faster than you. And because they're not thinking of the 500 things that are in your brain because you're the one running the business, they probably do it better and more efficiently. One of the things that we did when we took over the restaurant was we closed on Monday. So instead of working 6 days a week, we closed on Monday, which felt like a huge deal. And I definitely got some pushback from the former owners, aka my parents. They were very scared for me. And I knew at that time, I was like, we just need another day off. And maybe it'll hurt the sales. But I think for me mentally, that's what we need to do. So we closed on Monday and we found, oh, we have a whole nother day to do admin, to do nothing, to sleep. If we wanted to come in, we could come in and catch up on stuff. But that Monday ended up being such a blessing to be closed on Monday, and ended up over time, our sales were not only the same, it got better. And I think it's because I was able to be more refreshed and rested as a leader and someone who wasn't getting burned out. And it gave us the opportunity to go places and learn about how other people are doing things. And this could be just literally going out to eat somewhere, which when you're working 6 days a week, restaurant hours, it's actually hard to go out to eat when you're just busy all the time. If you are a solopreneur or someone that works in your business, the idea of stepping away can be very, very daunting. I know I had no concept of what that meant. And it took me a lot of time and faith to figure out how we would do that. And now that I'm on the other side of that, where I don't work in our actual frontline business anymore, I don't make any ice cream anymore. It's such a 180 from where we started. And it's such an evolution from working in your business to actually working on your business. And I think that's a huge transition if you are able to get to that place, if you're wanting to grow and get bigger and get to a place where you have a little bit more time freedom. And I think over the years, that's been the biggest thing for me, is a priority shift in I appreciate my time freedom so much more now than what I had before. But I knew that I had to work for that. I had to put in the time. I had to put in the hours. I had to put in all of that to be able to do what we do now, which is be able to go on adventures. One of the lessons I've learned as an entrepreneur is celebrating. Taking time to intentionally honor your achievements and share them with others is a big part of what makes the whole journey worth it. And one of my favorite ways to do it is with food, of course. Goldbelly is our partner in how we deliver our ice cream to customers all over the U.S. so they can make their special moments even more special wherever they are. And whatever milestone you're celebrating with your friends and family, Goldbelly has just the thing. Whether you need Guy Fieri's trash can dessert nachos for Dad's birthday or Martha Stewart's famous banana pudding for your sister's baby shower, Goldbelly can ship it right to your door and make your event even more special. So if you haven't taken advantage of Goldbelly's amazing offerings, now's the time. Run over to their website at goldbelly.com and make your celebration unforgettable. Tao here, popping in to share my excitement about one of my favorite companies in the whole world, Holly Hill & Co. If you are like me and are obsessed with food, especially local food, you will appreciate those special ties that happen around the table. Holly Hill & Co. believes, like I do, that food creates connection and community unlike anything else. That's why they take care to strengthen the ties across the generations between family, the farmer, and the land, all the way to the food that ends up on your table. You can experience exactly what this means at one of Holly Hill's 9 unique Central Kentucky restaurants and through their beautiful emails. If you're in Kentucky, be sure to find the nearest location and get ready for an amazing experience with the most fantastic food. Holly Hill's co-founder is none other than my dear friend, James Beard-nominated chef Weta Michael, who's been a force on the Kentucky food scene for over 20 years. Learn more about their incredible food community by visiting hollyhillandco.com, where you'll find stories, recipes, how-tos, and even curated gifts. Again, that's hollyhillandco.com, and let them know that Tao from Crank and Boom sent you. Traveling and seeing how people on the other side of the world do something is incredibly informative. It's fun for me. I love looking and peeking behind the counter and seeing how people are doing things. We were at a lot of very fancy malls in Bangkok, and at all these malls, they had the same chains of different food places. Papa Beard, I think, is a cream puff place. Bonchon Chicken is a Korean fried chicken place that I love, that I went to in New York before they had their mass expansion. So even just seeing that and thinking, well, we went to Bonchon before they expanded, and now they're a global company and have restaurants all over the world, kind of makes you think like, what would it take to have a Crank and Boom in Bangkok? And will we realistically do that? I don't know. But it's a nice exercise of the brain for me as someone who likes to dream. What would that look like? And what would that even mean? I don't know where I would even start with that. But if you don't have the dream to start with, you can't go anywhere. I love how being in these situations and traveling are just good for my soul, because I love adventure. But then I also just love the exercise for me of learning patience and learning how to figure out a place that I don't know. Because I think a lot of components of traveling are very parallel to the adventure of small business, in that you are traversing into a place that you have never known, especially if you have a business that's new or you have invented something new that no one else has ever done. You are traversing into territory that doesn't have a plan. And I felt like that very much with our trip. We would have a plan, and then nothing would go as planned, which I think is the most indicative and most parallel to running a small business. I think you can also, in your business, try to plan all day long and try to have all the best intentions, but then nothing ever goes the way you think it's going to go. And I think that's such a good exercise for the soul, because you just learn to go with the flow. We actually say this mantra in our family. What do we expect on an adventure? And the answer is anything. We just expect anything, because who knows what will happen. We just have to be prepared on how we react and how we deal with the situation. Take trips, take time away, take a moment to step out of your business and not just work in it all the time. I think being able to go on a trip and go to places and have that be a part of our life culture is a nice way to also showcase that for our team as well. I don't want you to burn out. I don't want you to work so much that you hate your life. Work is going to be a part of life. So can we make it as enjoyable as we can? But it still is work. And can you take the time for yourself to take care of yourself, do things that you enjoy, and then do things that enhance your own life? So I hope that by learning to do that for myself, then we can set an example for our own team and the people around us as well. Baby steps on being able to step away if that is where you are, but then also, do things that bring you joy. If you do not like international travel, by no means, don't go on a trip. Maybe it's just, taking time to go canoeing for the afternoon. Whatever it is that brings you joy. Maybe it's just sitting home and watching Netflix, which I do all the time. Just doing that, whatever is good for you, that rebuilds your soul, that brings you happiness, that will bring you to life so that you can come back to the business with better energy, where you're more refreshed, where you can bring your best self to your business, because that is going to give it its best fighting chance to succeed. Thank you so much for listening to the Crank and Boom podcast. If you want business advice and tactics like this every week, click that follow button wherever you listen to your podcast so you never miss an episode with us. Also, if you like what you heard today, it would mean so very much to me if you would leave us a review. That helps other people find us, and I would also love to hear more about what topics you'd like for us to dive into on the show. I can't wait to meet you here again soon. Until next time, peace!
This is a production of Four Eyes Media.